Okay, thanks everyone for joining. This is the July community meetup for ETKL. Today we're extremely lucky to be hosting Michael from Horizon Blockchain Games, who've created Skyweaver. We also have Isialis from the local NFXT community. And before we get them to introduce themselves, we'll just do our normal monthly roundup. So again, this is the July meetup. We're hosting Horizon Blockchain Games. Our sponsor is Etherscan. Some quick announcements. The Ethereum cat herders are doing this survey along with Nethermind, asking anyone anyone in Ethereum, whether you're a user or you're an infrastructure provider or dApp creator, to answer this survey to understand so that the core devs can understand your needs better. I will share the link later on in our Telegram group and Discord. And so if you guys are not in either one, we'll share the link later for you to join. We also have Crypto Art Week Asia Malaysia version happening like in a couple days. Isialis, I think we'll be able to share a little bit more about that later. But yeah, it's a virtual exhibition, so don't worry about MCO restrictions. You'll still be able to join. It's in the virtual like metaverse. And I'll pass the mic on to Aiman to share on the rest of the monthly roundup.
All right, sure. Let me share my screen because it's a bit small. All right, so one of the first roundup is the London network upgrade has been merged and the network is set to be upgraded by early to mid-August. And you know, this is finally the EIP 1559 that has been waited for everyone. It's going to be released soon, and you can actually see some of the UI changes done on Etherscan. And now it's live on a few testnets, right, Harif?
Yes, on Robston, Gorley, and Rinkaby.
Right. And another one is Aave to debut its institutional DeFi lending, Aave Pro. I think they are aiming to launch around July. So it is a permission liquidity pool for institutions. So it'll be interesting to see how that will go. And next is Wyoming legally recognizes the first DAO in the United States. So this is quite big news. Though you could check what DAO exactly is. I can't really recall what is the what is the DAO actually is for this one. And then yes, CoinGecko recently launched their How to DeFi books, an updated one. So there's a beginner edition and also an advanced edition. So I would definitely recommend this to anyone that wants to be involved and or know like stuff in DeFi. And yeah, some local news. So Luno sees 4.1 billion transactions so far this year. That's awesome. And yep, Harith mentioned just now, we have Crypto Art Week Asia happening in a few days, and we have a lot of Malaysian artists here. And Bank Negara Malaysia or the Malaysian Central Bank will do a pilot project for digital currency in 2021, and they said that they are unlikely to focus on retail CBDC, similar to China's digital yuan or Sweden's e-krona. So yeah, I think that's all the roundup. I'll pass the mic back to you, Harif.
Thanks, Aiman. We did mention on Twitter just earlier today, we might buy just the CoinGecko How to DeFi books in bulk and then just do like a lucky winner thing. It seems like a lot of people are interested in that. I do want to like milk that a little bit more. So like ideally, if you get the book, then you'd also share with the rest about what your learnings are from the book. And we potentially can explore if any of the CoinGecko team members are free to share as well, because they were the ones that wrote the book. Okay, and then next up, we will invite Isialis. Please feel free to share your screen so that and give a quick introduction to you and the NFXT community, so we know what the NFT artists community are like in Malaysia.
So hi gang, thank you for calling me up to represent NFXT. So my name's Aizalis or Ehsan. I'm happy to be here. I love to hear more on Michael's sharing session later on. So I'll start sharing my screen and just tell you guys a little bit about our collective. Just a little recap. So earlier on, I think on February, most of us were on Clubhouse and we were talking about futurescapes and stuff like that. And some of us were talking about NFTs and stuff like that. And I think Nero One Shaman had started a NFT group in Facebook, and we stumbled upon another account in Twitter, Malaysia NFT, and decided to pool our resource and help each other to build a community. So I was called upon to become the project manager to ask for some grants, right, from Cendana My Creative. And yeah, that's how it was. But basically we didn't want to do like a one-off event, so we decided to run a community. So moving forward, so um, we're forward thinking collective, where over here we are very inclusive of any kind of identity as well as creativity. So we want to promote the culture of learning and play. So our efforts are currently to educate people on types of platforms within the NFT space, the smart contracts involved and whatnot. Probably, you guys are more like professionals on the matter. I just started this also in like I think on March, so I'm still here to learn. So yeah, our main reason to have this collective is to have a exhibition and by the end of the year called Next Gallery. And but once we realize that there's a lot of learning curve that's need to be taken, so we decided to do like host minting parties where we help people to onboard. We Malaysia NFT, Moon, aka Mumu the Stand, help us with the funds to help new artists to onboard on the platform Hikatanum. And initially the grant was for artists to mint in Ethereum, right? But because of Hikatanum, we've learned that the POS system is a cheaper way and eco-friendly way to mint your NFTs. um, so those are our aim lah, is to help people to get on board, to possibly have collaboration and inspire other artists, because there's I think the minting parties is really fun. It's rather than you just mint your artwork on your own and wait for weeks, sometimes months, with no buyers or collectors. So it's a pretty lonesome journey. So we have to facilitate that. And I just want to introduce some of the Zetas. We have artists like Mulo Jiwo, our multi-talented performing artist, Viswosa, who's also a bubblologist who plays with fractal art. And we have Zykes. I think he gave a talk also here, a discussion with you guys. He's one of our main sponsors. He helped to boost the server, rent out a space in Crypto Vossel, so we have a place to showcase our gallery. We have Ziraf, who's our web developer, also like one of the builders in the Crypto Vossel space. Mumu the Stan, the Malaysia NFT admin, as well as the ones who's helping out with the Kawa exhibition right now. We have Nirwan, our great explorer, who's really into like the tokenomics of this stuff, learning about smart contract, also building like few projects to help people to learn how to mint NFTs, what's happening when you're minting your NFTs, and also a project, collectible project that I will share later on. And me myself, I'm basically the front guy for this. All right, and so who are the creative? Yes, mainly we are consist of Malaysian artists, but we have people of talents from all around the world, from Amsterdam, Japan, Spain, some artists from Foundation, like because we connected with people from NFT Asia, and also as well from the other Discord servers, and they kind of found out about us and they just came in, and then we welcome them lah to probably collaborate and hang out. So yeah, this is our ongoing project, which is available in our link in our Instagram and Twitter, where you can see what's happening. This is the hyperlinks lah, if you want to see what's going on. And so the event right now that's happening tomorrow, it will be Crypto Art Week Asia. So not their first inaugural event was in January, right? And now I think there's second attempt, and they had to postpone it a little bit because of this whole COVID stuff. And we as Malaysia, we sending two exhibitions to be included in their 50 virtual galleries. So Malaysia NFT is gonna showcase the 29 selected artists, including myself, as well as hosting few events like the NFXT talk, the bubble performance, the music performance, some rave parties, and other discussion about copyright issues and whatnot. And over on the NFXT gallery in the crypto voxel space, we are helping to showcase NFXT members, as well as featuring artists like Red Hongyi, who just got on board into the NFT space. So, some collectors from the crypto voxel space can see her work and probably, up to buy it, because her bidding is closing in another 3 days. And moving forward, these are the meeting parties. I think we've run already about 4 meeting parties. So the first one was just a try and error, and this is the rest. And the last one was catered to more to call on more women and non-binaries to get involved, because it seems as though the space was filled with men, and we need more we need more women and non-binaries to probably help to spice it up a little bit. And for sorry, so I'm gonna share you a video of the exhibition that is a mock-up that we did to see whether this can work in concurrent with our grant submission, right? So with the help of Mumu the Stan, or aka Moon, she reached out to the hand community, and we got it's not sponsored, but we got the support of hand itself to run this minting party, to do this exhibition, trial mock-up exhibition. And it was really awesome. We gained some views, as well as people coming over to our Discord server. And some of our members was in digital art gallery, Sydney Crypto exhibition last, I think it was in May. And yeah, they call us to probably host a talk amongst us. And one of our member, Sam No to Scale, helped to moderate the whole event, the whole talk. And it was widely accepted. I think that within a day or two, like I was surprised that 200 people was looking at reviewing it. So there's a need for people to understand what NFT was, and I think that was a good intro lah. And this coming Saturday at 9 p.m. we're gonna do another one, but we're gonna call up the top ranking NFT artists whose sales is probably in the hundreds of thousands of ringgit, or in I don't know in Ethereum lah, but probably 30, 40 Ethereums like that. So they'll be talking. So like we have Arok. I think he's the number one selling NFT artist in Malaysia. We have Never Sleep. We have Fiza from Machine East. We have Mumu the Stand from the Eco Clean NFTs. We have Zykes, who's a collector, but yet also has sold some artworks in Foundation. And it's going to be moderated by Sam as well. And this is the Matic meter, which I told you earlier on, which Shaman, aka Nero One, has done to help people to understand what's happening behind the NFT when it's being minted. So yeah, to get into detail, I think he is the right person to talk about this. I'm still learning about how does the CID, all this metadata works, and this is still in the testnet in OpenSea. So I think this for this coming month minting party, we're gonna use this to help people to learn, rather than just giving them funds and they they do some mistakes and they don't really fully understand, grasp what's happening behind the scenes. So I'm going to use this as our first trial, and I'm going to share with you like the collectible idea that we are running. The slide after this is called Auto Factory, and the first series is the artwork is done by Mulo. So here it goes. So we're still working on the website and getting the roadmap and copyright writing on, and yeah, it's a little bit different because we're gonna gamify it a little bit more. So the second series we're gonna have like probably other artists to come in to to spice it up. So we have some gamification happening. So I think I'll continue that on a later date lah to update you guys on this matter. Yeah, this is our schedule of because we just gotten our grant from Cendana. So because the exhibition is on December, right? So we have to think about what we are gonna do for the next few months. So we're gonna run talks, especially contributing on like ETH as well as Pentas. They call us up I think next week they're in Twitter Spaces to talk about NFTs. We in July we're running the Crypto Art Week. There's a collaboration with Penang Art Council on regards of NFTs. The Cine Crypto, again, we're gonna do a more elaborate version of it. Like the other one was only featuring three artists. Now we're gonna showcase at least various artists from few categories of illustration, 2D, 3D, graffiti artists, fine artists, and such. Also, we are partnering with KL Sketch Nation, who does sketch walks where they draw landscapes or architectural buildings, and we want to help them to probably do a mass minting on that side. So there's still because of the COVID and lockdown, we can't do that yet for now. And so this is the idea. We helping Pentas.io which is they're going to be a Malaysian-based platform where we will help them to run workshops and talks, as well as providing them with creatives, artists, and it'll be like an invite, like how Foundation does their platform. So this is the talk which Noto Scale is helping us with. Um, this is the one that I told you before, and this is the whole idea. So hopefully, I think this is just an initial plan. It's not fully done yet. It's still in the works. My goal, I think, per se, is to probably, because we've been in the rut for the last 1.5 years. I think we should end the year or start the year or next year with some hope. And I was thinking to host a virtual graphic audio festival, some sort. So we start the year with a bang or end the year with a lighter note. So it doesn't have to only do with NFTs. It can be anything. We can have performing artists. We can have talks. We can have white box. We can have performance and whatnot. So I think basically that's all from me. And yeah, man, thank you guys, and I can't wait to hear Michael session. And yeah, thank you. So anything, just follow our email and website, and yeah, thanks guys.
Okay, thanks, Azilis. That was a lot of really cool stuff. And we discussed before, like there's a lot of things we can do as well. For EKL to collaborate with you guys. I especially like to have like a controversial kind of session, discussing clean NFTs, the
Please,
pros and
please.
cons.
Yeah, that'll be
That would
awesome.
be. I would love to like be on the other side of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, a lot of other cool stuff that we can do together with you. And yeah, let's looking forward to try all that. Even separately from EKL, like from an Etherscan point of view as well, like to support more NFT kind of uh, images, data to show on the website. There's probably a lot that we can learn from NFT artists like yourselves. So yeah, that's something that we can do
Yeah, of
in the
course. All right, all right.
next few
Yeah.
months.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a lot. And now let's invite Michael. Michael, please feel free to give your talk about Horizon and Skyweaver.
Cool. Thanks, Harith. And thanks for that presentation, Isilis. It looks awesome what you guys are doing. So I'll share my screen here. Which screen do you see?
The Google Slides.
So you see it says Horizon on the top?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so my name is Michael. I'm the co-founder and chief storyteller at Horizon Blockchain Games. And we're building a new dimension where internet economies are fun, accessible, and for the benefit of all participants. And so before I dive in, I'll just give a quick overview of the main points I'll cover today. And the first is what I already stated, is that like Web3 is actually another dimension to reality where we can create these brand new economies. And through novel economic design and true digital ownership of NFTs, free-to-play games can reward players, both in terms of entertainment and financial value. And I'll demo how our game Skyweaver's gameplay and economy serve its players and create a symbiotic relationship between the community and our company. And I'll also discuss how a decade from now, most companies will be Web3 companies, and most people will have a Web3 wallet where they store their NFTs, digital identity, assets, and more. And up until now, widespread adoption has been limited by technological and UX limitations, but we're now ready to welcome the masses to Web3 blockchain and crypto. And I'll describe how with our Sequence smart wallet, we can welcome an entirely new mass of people to the new dimension. And by simplifying the developer experience, we can enable an entirely new creator class to service all these people. And, oh, skipped ahead there. And I'm sure, a lot of you already know this, but, digital worlds now have physical world-like properties thanks to blockchain. And we can truly own digital items in the form of NFTs and collectibles. With Ethereum and compatible networks, NFTs and collectibles exist in a persistent realm where various worlds, games, avatars, marketplaces, and other applications coexist. And this is a dimension we can access on demand. And even when we're not there, things can continue to happen and everything is interconnected. And free from the constraints of physicality, we can explore new ideas and experiences in this digital dimension. We get to dream, explore, and architect from first principles, and we get to instill this new layer of reality with values like love, openness, and play. It's really a playground manifest from our collective imagination. And one of the playgrounds that we've imagined is called Skyweaver. So I'm going to exit the presentation and just walk you through a little bit of the game. But at a high level, Skyweaver is a free-to-play trading card game where every card in the game is generated by players through gameplay. So it's free-to-play, browser-based, which makes Skyweaver accessible for virtually anyone with an internet connection, and it offers a truly player-owned economy. So there's a number of different game modes. I'll explain them in more detail later, but I'm just going to play a practice mode. And we have two different game types. So there's Discovery, where you play with a randomized deck. And this is great, so anyone just starting right off the bat can start playing. Or you can build a constructed deck, which is where you strategically put a deck of cards together based on cards that you own. And there's a number of different play styles you can choose from these different heroes. I'll choose Mira. She's a combination of intellect and strength. And yeah, I'm just gonna dive into a match and show you a little bit of the gameplay. And you know, for anyone that's played a trading card game before, we've built Skyweaver to be easy to learn like Hearthstone, but with a depth more akin to Magic the Gathering. So there's really a lot to explore in this game. And so to start, I'm given the option to choose 4 out of these 7 cards that I'll have in my deck. I'll just quickly go through this screen. And hopefully the frame rate through Zoom is good enough. And hopefully it looks smooth through Zoom. But you know, for anyone that hasn't played a trading card game before, the objective of the game is, so this is my hero here, this robot with the woman inside named Mira. And this is my hero. And then this is the opponent's hero, this robot-looking creature. And the objective of the game is to bring the opponent's hero from 32 health down to 0, and then I'll win. And I can do so by casting any combination of the cards that I have in my deck onto the field. And so I'm going to play B unit. And here I'll be able to attack the opponent's hero with my hero. And then I'm going to end my turn. And in Skyweaver, there are actually 500 unique cards. So each one of these has different mechanics and abilities. So you can imagine that there's a ton of strategy to explore, because the way you put your cards together gives you certain advantages in the game. So I didn't read that card properly and I made a stupid move. That's all right. And I can do this to gain 2 mana, which is essentially the energy that is required to make a play. And you can see down here in the bottom left corner that this is how many mana I have. So this is actually a browser-based game, as I mentioned. We also have iOS and Android apps available. And I'm just gonna, I think you all get a sense for the gameplay, so I'll concede a match. Games typically take around 10 minutes, but all of you can play afterwards if you want to. You can experience a full game for yourself. And by the way, does my sound come through? Are you hearing the game music?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Is it too loud?
I think we can still hear you.
Okay, let me just turn it down a bit. And since I conceded the match early, I don't gain any XP or anything like that. But if you win matches, you actually, you'll win cards and stuff. So in Skyweaver, I mentioned there are 500 unique cards, and there are 3 different grades of cards. So there are base cards, which these are non-blockchain items. And you can win and unlock base cards simply by playing the game, leveling up, and earning XP. And then these cards give you access to all the different strategies that exist in the game. So you can actually unlock all base cards in the game for free. Now, we also have what are called silver cards. And silver cards are cosmetically enhanced versions of the base cards, but they're actually ERC 1155. So you can think of them as NFTs. For those who aren't familiar, ERC 1155 is the multi-token standard that we co-authored along with Engine for representing game items. And we can dive into more details about that. But yeah, these cards they're truly your property. So you can play with them, you can build strategic decks with them, or you can sell them on the marketplace. And we actually have a game mode called Ranked Rewards. So the top players at the end of each week are rewarded with these silver cards that are their actual property. And they could sell them in the Skyweaver market, which I'll share later, or they could sell them on a third-party marketplace like OpenSea or anywhere else they choose. Now you can also use silver cards to enter a really cool game mode called Conquest. And Conquest, it's a pay to enter mode where you pay with either one die or one silver card. And it's a one versus one tournament mode. So if you lose your first match, you're out and you lose your stake. But if you win your first match, you win one silver card. If you win 2 matches in a conquest, you win 2 silver cards. And if you win all 3 matches in a conquest, you win 1 silver card and 1 rare trophy gold card. And golds are really special because the only place that you can win them is in conquest or by buying them from another player on the market. And these, again, the golds, they're ERC 1155s. They're cosmetically enhanced versions of the silver and bases. So they don't give you a gameplay advantage over the silvers, but they are tradable, scarce assets. And something else that's cool about the gold cards, I'll just quickly jump back to my presentation here, is that each week there are only 8 of the 500 cards in Skyweaver that are available to be won as golds. So after week 1, none of these 8 gold cards will ever be generated again. So they're quite rare. And so the only way after that to get one is to purchase it from another player on the market. And now I'll show you what the Skyweaver market looks like. So this is the buy page. And we've designed it to be as easy as any Web 2 experience, but with Web 3 superpowers. So these are actual NFTs that you can buy and sell. So let's just say, like, I want to add Ikaru to my order, who currently costs 3.16 DAI, so the equivalent of around $3 US. I could buy Pyrocrafter, and let's say I want to buy Tactician. And then I just click here to review the order. I can adjust the quantities of the cards. And then down here, I click confirm buy. And what happens is our Sequence Smart Wallet, which I will explain in more detail later, it's seamlessly integrated into the game so that when, and this is where I actually own the cards, is in fact in my Web3 wallet, which simply connects with the Skyweaver game so that I can come to the game with the cards that I own and then trade and sell them. And so if I wanted to make this transaction, I would just click confirm, and we're on the Polygon network, so it would take a couple seconds to go through. And then I would no longer have those cards. Now, similar, so that's what a buy order would look like. You can imagine a sell order is quite similar. So these are all cards that I own, and I could, choose to add these and sell them, and it would just be the same process. And so this, for those who are curious, this Skyweaver market is actually built atop our NFTSwap protocol. And NFTSwap is essentially like Uniswap, but for game items and collectibles, ERC 1155s. And so we'll actually, this will be available for other developers if you want to make games or dApps or whatever, and then you just need to build your own front-end UI to have your own marketplace. So as a company, it's something that's, I think really special about Skyweaver is the fact that as a company and as a game, we don't actually sell any cards. And this might seem counterintuitive at first, but we believe that this type of player-owned and player-generated economy will help make game experiences more fulfilling, because every card in the game is generated by players through gameplay. And you might think of this as proof of skill, and where the cards you win are your property. And something else that's great is that Skyweaver cards are eternal. They're never banned nor rotated out of play, which means the time you invest to build up your skills, cards, and decks is never lost or taken away from you. To take this notion of ownership further, card owners can actually provide liquidity to the Skyweaver market, which, as I mentioned, is built atop our NFTSwap protocol, which is just like Uniswap. So let's say you provide liquidity for the silver fun guy and the DAI pairing. Every time that pair is traded on the Skyweaver market, you'll earn a fee. So this is where DeFi and gaming intersect, and you can leverage the cards you've won or purchased to earn a yield. So in addition to being able to play with, trade, sell, build decks with, and gift your cards, you'll have the opportunity to earn a yield on the Skyweaver cards you own. So through Skyweaver's game and economy design, we aim to serve our players with value and to reward them for their time. And by doing so, we create a symbiotic relationship between players and game creators. Players get to have fun and potentially earn rewards while we earn transaction fees when items are traded. Together we grow and incentives are aligned. And even if a player becomes bored of Skyweaver and no longer wants to play, they can sell their items or go on to something different. And I just show this painting because it's called Ethera by this Toronto artist named Nelly Bach. And we find it really representative of kind of Ethereum being this like digital mother nature and offering these symbiotic economies. And, you know, something that Skyweaver does, and also, you know, what Idealist was talking about earlier is that like NFTs turn users into owners. And now consumption, culture, and community are tradable assets. Consumption is no longer ephemeral, but persistent. It's no longer private, but communal, no longer limitless, but scarce. And so for the first time, consumption is collectible. And that's a quote by Richard Kim. And then one of my friends, Tony Sheng, talks about how the owner of a pre-crypto digital good faces massive liquidity and trust risks. Crypto digital goods are issued by central authorities that manage custody of the goods. They can inflate the supply at will and often limit the tradability of those items, which is what we see in traditional video games, right? For the most part, you can't trade them, at least not easily. So something like a sound digital collectible, such as an NFT, could be worth at least an order of magnitude more. And as more and more users come to recognize the advantages of blockchain-based digital items and the fact that online experiences, culture, and community are tradable assets, we're going to see a ton of new and interesting online economies and experiences emerge. What Idealist is talking about is one of those communities and experiences, right? And Skyweaver is another, and there's going to be a ton more. And in fact, we believe that most companies and games will be connected to blockchain and Web3 in the next decade, and that nearly every person will have an NFT, crypto, and Web3 wallet. But in order to achieve this, we need to make accessing this new dimension simpler and more intuitive. And that's why we've built the Sequence Smart Wallet for crypto, NFTs, and Web3. It's the simple and secure way to own your crypto, NFTs, and connect to Web3. And this is the wallet I mentioned earlier that's seamlessly integrated into Skyweaver and can seamlessly integrate into any dApp. So you can think of Sequence like your gateway to access the new dimension. It's an intuitive experience built with the everyday internet user in mind. No blockchain knowledge required, no seed phrases. It's a smart contract wallet stacked with capabilities and multi-chain integration. So you can view, access, and trade all of your assets across various Ethereum compatible networks, whether that's Polygon or XDAI or Avalanche, Optimism, Arbitrum, and all the other EVM compatible chains that exist and will exist. But in other words, you can store all of your goods from the new dimension in the same place, securely and simply. It's like your backpack, wallet, and identity, controlled and owned entirely by you. You know, up to this point, we've seen entering the new dimension is somewhat difficult, especially if you're just looking to play around, right? Like there's unintuitive UX, there's high gas fees. You know, fortunately, we have sidechains and L2s that help with that. But in general, it's kind of tough as just like a new person if you don't have just a ton of, you know, money to play around with. So it makes things like trading low value NFTs cost prohibitive. And, you know, we've solved for the UX by having a simple account creation and recovery for users. So it's actually social recovery. So there's no more worrying about a lost seed phrase or losing your crypto. And so we're maintaining a non-custodial and secure design with this convenience. And by supporting all Ethereum compatible chains like Polygon, where gas fees are negligible, users and developers in this new dimension can choose the chain of their choice based on its fees and security. So Sequence will grant you access to all of it. And by making access to the new dimension simpler, we make it easier for developers and creators to connect with their audiences. This connection enables more opportunity, collaboration, innovation, symbiosis, and evolution. More opportunity to dream, explore, and reimagine the previously dominant interaction models in favor of networks that reward both users and creators. And by making access simpler, we can empower anyone with an internet connection to experience, contribute, and benefit from the new dimension. And I like this quote by Letellier about the virtual economy being distinctive in that it's possible for almost anyone, young or old, rich or poor, regardless of gender, ethnicity, religion, location, heritage, or social status, to succeed as long as they have the intellect, decisiveness, and the technical capacity to see the opportunities emerging within it. And so we want to provide that technical capacity and access. And we believe this new dimension really can be fun, accessible, and for the benefit of all participants, and every one of us can play a part in making it real. So for those of you that would like early access to Skyweaver, you can go to skyweaver.net. I can also send some codes to Harith right after in case you just want to, jump in a little more quickly instead of going on the wait list. And you can learn more about Sequence at sequence.build. And I'd like to let all of you know that we're hiring. We have 10 or more open roles right now across engineering, product, marketing, business, and finance. We're growing quickly, and it's really an honor to be on this journey with such a wonderful team. Our company values are love, openness, and play. And if you want to learn more about what that means, you can go to careers.horizon.io. And for anyone that resonates with our mission and whose skill set might align with what we're doing, we'd absolutely love to hear from you. And so, yeah, thank you for having me, Harith, and everyone part of ETH Malaysia. It's really awesome to be here and connect with you guys, especially since, we're on opposite sides of the world, but I don't know, it's just really cool. So thanks for having me, and I'm happy to jump into any questions.
All right. Thanks, Michael. I really gotta say the slides and the presentation are really befit one that's shared by a chief storyteller. Usually our meetup, tend to be the speakers, both ourselves and the guests are not necessarily, storytellers. So I personally, I think there's a difference. What's
Thank
shared.
you.
Thanks. Yeah. We still have you for at least about 40 more minutes. Everyone else, feel free to ask questions in the chat. And if you want to ask verbally, raise your hand and I can unmute you. And you can ask Michael your question. And Michael, when you're answering, keep in mind to repeat the question if it's in the chat. Cool. Because we want to let the people watching the recording later to know what the questions are. Sure. And before we start with the questions from the audience, I think I see some already. I always like to start this Q&A with asking you about like your background. I've seen your profile, and it's very interesting background. So maybe you can share a bit more about yourself and especially how you went down this rabbit hole of blockchain and Ethereum. And separately from that, also the background of the team. And I see you guys are like all over the world, and just how you guys got together and started.
Cool. Yeah. So my background, I've been in the blockchain space for about 8 years now. I first became interested in Bitcoin when I heard about this decentralized currency. I first heard about it back in 2010. I got more involved in 2013. I met Vitalik Buterin in 2014, about 18 months before the launch of Ethereum. And he was speaking to a group of 20 of us about smart contracts and decentralized governance. And, at the time, 95% of what he said flew over my head, but I was covered in goosebumps. And I thought, this guy's an alien that's here to teach us about love and economics. And I got really excited. And so for a long time, I've seen the potential in blockchain as being able to liberate humanity in so many ways, economically, socially, politically, financially, in so many ways. But I was having a hard time understanding like how we would achieve mass adoption. How would we make it so that, like my friends, my parents would be interested in using it, similar to how people are interested in using the internet. And then I had the pleasure of meeting Peter Kieltika, who's our co-founder and CEO. And he's, built and sold successful companies in the past. He's been a decentralized advocate and open source contributor to many different languages and blockchain for quite a while. And he's, at the end of 2017, he suggested to me this idea of blockchain gaming. And this was prior to CryptoKitties or anything, or the term NFTs. And so I'd never considered it. And when he said that to me, I'm like, holy shit, this is it. And he had done more than just like think of the concept. He was already working on it. So it was him, then another guy named Ian, Daniel, and William. There were 5 of us who co-founded it, all with like different and complementary skill sets. So we started Horizon in January of 2018. And we started building Skyweaver. We needed to build the architecture and the Web3 wallet around it, which is Sequence. It's also a developer platform for developers to make dApps, DeFi projects, marketplaces, exchanges, games, whatever they want. It just allows for seamless integration with Ethereum. And yeah, we're headquartered in Toronto, but we have teammates all around the world. We're at 27 or 29 full-time people at the moment. Yeah, and it's just a really special journey to be on. So hopefully that answers your question, Harith.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. Maybe you can add a little bit more as well, like because if we go on your website, we can see there's a lot of like the biggest sort of companies in the space, like Coinbase, Consensus, Polychain, like are your partners, or I guess / investors. Yeah. Like, could you share a bit more like that journey of how you started from like 5 people to get the support of these partners?
Yeah, so we started the company in January of 2018, and then we started developing Skyweaver. We started doing state channel research back then, started trying to figure out like, at first we thought about making the whole game decentralized, but then we realized like that's not going to be effective. And we realized we only need to make the ownership of the game on the ownership of the cards on the blockchain. So we actually had like, we were progressing towards a prototype, and we realized, okay, to actually execute this, we need funding. So Peter and I went down to San Francisco, and we went on a 10-day trip, and we met with, I don't know, maybe like 30 different investors. And we were fortunate to have some warm introductions, and it was actually Initialized Capital. So Alexis Ohanian and Gary Tan, they were our lead investor. And when we just explained the idea to them, they got super excited. Like Alexis grew up a trading card game player. They both love Ethereum. So, and this was back like at the start of 2018, right? So there were no trading card games on the blockchain. Like it wasn't, there were no games on the blockchain. CryptoKitties was, by that time, was the only thing that really existed. And yeah, I see in the chat, yes, Alexis is Reddit's founder. And so yeah, and then we, also one of my friends happened to be a partner at Polychain. So they came on as well. I mean, not just because we were friends, but because like we had a good business idea. I was just fortunate that we were friends, that we were able to work together in that capacity. And then, yeah, like Coinbase came in, DCG, Digital Currency Group, Golden Ventures, which is a generalist fund out of Toronto. And one of the partners there, he used to be a director at Zynga, the really popular casual game company. And then we were fortunate to have even Fred Ursam, the co-founder of Coinbase, come in as an angel. And then a few other really special people. Yeah, and then later on, we did another financing round, and we brought on Consensus, CMT Digital, a group called Riga Ventures. And yeah, we're really fortunate to be working with all of them. They're actually, like, every single one of them are really wonderful people and very supportive and super intelligent too.
Okay, thanks, Michael. I think because some of the questions are like buried already, so I'll help ask you instead of having you scroll up in the chat. Cool. So Cedric asks, how does wallet recovery work for Sequence without using seed phrases?
Yeah, it's a great question, Cedric. Do you want me to repeat that, by the way, Harith, or is it?
No, I
Okay.
already asked you, so that's fine. Yeah.
Cool. So we use multi-key design, multi-signature design, and the smart contract design of the wallet as well. So with the multi-signature design, by default, there are 3 private keys that are part of sequence. And one is associated to your device that you're logging in from. So whether it's your mobile or your laptop or maybe your tablet. Another one is called a Taurus key, which is generated when you log in with your social or your email. So you could use Gmail. We have Facebook, Apple, Discord, Twitch. And then there's another, what's called a guard key, which is securely and encrypted stored on a server. And you only need 2 out of these 3 private keys in order to access the wallet. And furthermore, we're going to make it customizable. So you could actually add a 4th key or a 5th key or 10 or 20 keys, and you can remove whichever keys you like as well. So you could remove the guard key because let's say, you don't want a key stored on someone else's server. You're like, I want to get rid of that one. But for most users, we think that this sort of default setting will be the easiest and the most secure for most people.
Would you mind if I tag a little bit on that?
Sure.
Yeah, so I was curious to understand the design of it. Was this built specifically for Skyweaver, or was it built separately and integrated? And do you see this the design of sequence to be more widely adopted in other areas or just for gaming?
So we built it out of necessity for Skyweaver because we weren't satisfied with any of the wallet solutions that existed. Because Skyweaver is designed for the regular gamer, the trading card game player. It's not designed exclusively for crypto people. Of course, we want crypto people to play it, like many of us within the company are crypto people, but oftentimes crypto people are pretty tech savvy and they can figure things out, but we want to make this for the average person. So we needed a wallet that's intuitive, easy sign on. You don't need to think about it, but it's secure at the same time. It's non-custodial, it's decentralized because we're believers in this decentralized economy. And in terms of what sequence can be used for, absolutely gaming, but also any DApp and DeFi projects as well. Exchanges, marketplaces, anything Web3 related. And I think over time, it will probably become more used by DeFi as more and more value gets locked into the contracts and people recognize, and it's more and more battle tested. I think over time, you'll see even more strong DeFi users use it as well.
All right, thanks. Very curious to see how we can use sequence for other normie friendly products. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, totally. And it's a great question, Cedric, and thanks for asking. And yeah, anyone can integrate sequence for free too. Like, obviously we're not, it's part of kind of the Web3 ethos, but we're not charging a developer to integrate it into their project, right?
Yep, thanks.
Okay, Ayman asks, do you see sequence being the wallet of choice for blockchain games?
That's our aim, yeah. And we want it to be the de facto Web3 wallet for all of Web3.
Okay, cool. So from what I understand, Skyweaver was one of the first projects to move to Polygon. Please feel free to correct me if I was wrong. Can you explain a little bit more about your decision making there? Because back then Polygon wasn't nearly as used as it is now. I think this was months and months ago. So what was your thinking about about choosing Polygon versus other sidechains or L2s?
Yeah, so we actually made the commitment back in November. So 9 months ago, I guess. And I'll be honest with you, I had no part in making that decision, but our director of product, Philippe, our director of blockchain research, Augustin, our CEO, Peter, our chief scientist, Will, one of our lead blockchain developers, Michael. They all did extensive research into what is a secure and scalable blockchain that will facilitate a enjoyable Skyweaver experience so that people can trade on the market and not pay, you know, $10 to trade a potential, you know, like the cards could range anywhere between $1 to who knows what the ceiling on gold cards is, hundreds, thousands of dollars, I don't know. But, you know, if you're trading that $1 silver card, like you're not paying a $10 gas fee. So it makes the experience prohibitive, right? So we needed a chain that could offer security, but with low gas fees. And the team, the group I mentioned, they're the ones who decided like Polygon is the best. And it took us a long time. Like it took us months of research. But it seems as though like, well, a lot of projects have followed suit, right? Since we made that decision. And I think Polygon just keeps getting stronger.
And to be clear, is it like a long-term commitment, I guess, if I can describe it that way, to Polygon? Or let's say when other L2s, optimistic or ZK rollups become more prevalent, are you able to switch between chains?
Yeah, we could switch. And that's one of the wonderful things about Sequence in our architecture is because we've architected it to be compatible with everything that's EVM compatible. It gives developers the freedom to choose the chains that, you know, have the lowest gas fees, the highest security, or whatever balance they're looking for. But for now, like Skyweaver seems like the perfect place for, or sorry, Polygon seems like the perfect place for Skyweaver, and the freedom to choose remains.
Okay. And Cedric added on that point, was Efinity/JumpNet considered?
Efinity/JumpNet, is that engine?
Yeah, that was part of Engine, and because you said you co-wrote 1155 with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was actually Philippe, our director of product, who co-authored the ERC 1155 with a couple of folks from Engine. And you know, I'll be honest, I'm by no means an expert in JumpNet, but I know our team did look at it. We had already made the decision to be on Polygon by that time. But yeah, they've looked at it and we've remained with our decision to be on Polygon.
Okay, no worries. I was just wondering if there would be any future benefits you would get from the integration. But yeah, just figuring out the infrastructure of gaming platforms for now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there are some things. I'm not personally sure though right now.
Right, thanks.
Okay. And so you mentioned silver and gold cards just now, right?
Yeah.
And from a kind of a player user feedback, at least right now, it seems a bit like it's silver and it's gold, so there's some sort of rarity to it, but it doesn't look very nice compared to the base cards. Like it's just like silver and gold frame on the cards, right? So are there any plans to like make it, you know, more flashy, I guess?
Yeah. I really appreciate that feedback. And it's something we've been considering a lot. Our design team is thinking of additional ways to make them more cosmetically enhanced because right now, the main difference is the tradability and the ownership and the supply of each, right?
Yeah, I was just thinking like, you know, like there's all these NFT artists, this community of NFT like designers, and it might just be good from a, I guess this is less of a question, but like from a kind of a decentralized point of view, like if you could get the community to like come up with these and then they get their, you know, like name put on the card and there's like a sense of ownership as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a fantastic idea, Harith. And actually, like, we've worked with around 30 different artists in Skyweaver, and their name, if you actually go into the library, you can click and you can see the names of each. But yeah, like that's 30 so far. It's going to be way more as time goes on, especially because like we'll release new cards in the future as well, right? And then those will each have like a base silver and gold. But I really appreciate that feedback, and it's definitely something I'll share with our team. And I see, yes, Wentz talked about animations and stuff. And yeah, like we have a lot of, we're adding more and more animations in the game, and we already have a bunch, and which is quite an achievement for a browser-based game. But Yeah, there are certain ideas we have with respect to the cards. I just don't want to like overpromise at the moment, because you know we're still a young company and like getting to launch and everything. So I'm not sure exactly at like what time that will be implemented, and ideas are still evolving.
Okay. And you mentioned you'll have more cards. So does that mean you'll be adding to the 500 that you have now?
Yeah, yeah.
From a gameplay point of view, does that like would that affect the balance of the game as you know it gets
Yeah.
more and more?
Yeah, definitely. So we're rebalancing the game all the time. Like every 2 weeks, we release a patch update, and I think we've done 70 of them so far, and I'm pretty sure in all 70 of them we've had balance updates to the gameplay. So it's like both, you know, technical patches and then balancing. So yeah, like when we add more cards, we're constantly rebalancing the game.
Yeah, because I think it's related to a question. Another question I had was like if you say there's 8 cards per week and then there's 500 cards, like at some point, like after about a year or so, like you run out of cards, right? To give out.
Yeah.
So, what would happen if you reach that point where you know you don't
Yeah.
have more cards to give?
Yeah. So we would well, you know, we will be adding more and more collections of cards. So it's gonna like it's gonna be at least a few years. But then we can, and to be honest, I don't know. Like I don't know. There could be a chance that like the pace at which we release it means that we never run into that problem. But if we did, we could release like alternate art versions of cards as an just as an example, or maybe like, you know, alternate animation versions of the cards.
Yeah. Okay. And to be clear, you can only buy or sell the silver or gold cards, right? But you can earn the base cards like unlimitedly.
Yeah, yeah. So with base cards, yeah, you can unlock all of them for free. You're not going to have duplicates of base cards because like you can't trade or sell them anyway, and they're tied to your account. Um, but there are additional things. This other modes we're exploring of what you can do with the base cards. I won't reveal it just yet because it's not the concept isn't finalized. But yeah, there will be other things you could do with the base cards. But then of course with like silvers, you know, like you could be on ranked rewards, and who knows, if you win a bunch, you might win 2 of the same card. Um, of course, you can sell that, or you know, you can buy duplicates as well from the market.
And on that note, so how does Horizon make money from Skyweaver? Because like you were talking about the trading, and so I saw fees, but then you mentioned there's LPs. So
Yeah.
I imagine LPs get the fees. So do you take a small cut of that, or how?
Yeah, so we on the marketplace, there's a transaction fee that goes to Horizon to, of course, like maintain the company, maintain the game, and then the LP fees are actually separate. But when you see the fees like on the marketplace as a user, you just pay that one fee, and then it's distributed amongst the parties accordingly. And then in the future, we can sell other cosmetics, things like we could have hero, like you know how there are heroes in the game, so there could be hero skins, and then there might be a limited edition of each, right? And then those NFTs, they don't provide you a gameplay advantage, but they're tradable, and maybe there's a certain amount of each, right? And we can sell other, you know, like traditional games too, right? Like emotes, or I mean, we want to have emotes in there already for players, but like, you know, there's different things that we can layer in.
Okay, yeah. So the base kind of like way of making money is that a slice of the trading fees, but there are other ways that you can generate revenue as well.
Well, yeah, and there's also conquest. So in conquest, people enter with either 1 silver or 1 die. So we earn that die when people enter conquest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. You mentioned the skin part because like, you know, if you look at games like League of Legends, like they earn like, you know, billions just from those skins, right? And it has literally no advantage in gameplay. So yeah, that's probably something you guys can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And from a like a Web3 point of view, probably you can maybe even like distribute it out with the community, like so they get some share with that as well.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's so much to explore down the road, you know, and like even like could be a token in the game. Like there can be all sorts of stuff, right? So it's really exciting. We just want to get to our soft launch when the economy's live, and then see how everyone's treating it in a live environment, and then from there we'll know like, okay, what should we do next?
Yeah. Maybe a little bit off topic, but like I as you were talking about that, I was even thinking about how I don't know if you know like Dungeons and Dragons, and there's like this YouTube channel that became really popular, and like they made it a business. Like they made like a whole TV series out of it.
Oh,
I can't remember the name, but yeah, there's like a bunch of like voice actors that play together and then just create the whole series out of it. So I can imagine something similar potentially happening with Skyweaver.
yeah, I mean, hey, I since we started the company, I've actually dreamed of like an anime or just other stuff. I think it's like really beautiful art, and we're releasing more and more lore. So I think there's like all sorts of different stuff. But time will tell exactly like which avenue we take.
Yeah, and the DeFi space at least loves our anime uh,
That's
characters.
true. Yeah.
Okay, so Ayman asks, what does a chief storyteller do?
Tell stories. So, I mean, that's definitely part of it. And I head up the marketing and community divisions for both. And like we have 3 brands at Horizon. There's Horizon as a brand, there's Skyweaver, and then now we're building Sequence. So there's a lot to do on the marketing and community front. I also am heavily involved in investor relations. That's a lot about bringing people into the story and bringing people into the journey who want to support you and be part of it. And then, like public relations, some business development. And although we are looking to hire a business developer for Sequence at the moment, but yeah, and being a founder in a startup, lots of things, over the years, like a lot of recruiting, operational things, like administrative tasks here and there, like a lot of stuff.
Yeah, okay. Cedric asks another question. How does the design process for mechanics, metagame, rarity, etc. look like? Do you do it in-house or is it community driven?
It's a mixture of both. Like at the outset, like the first principles we're operating from are based on our game design team, our economy team. Our game design teams have worked on designing Magic the Gathering, have worked on Hearthstone. Many of them are like legend Hearthstone players or like top tier, like competed professionally in Magic. So they had a lot of ideas about like what they wanted a card game to be, and what they believed would be the most wonderful for the community of players and serve them over the longest period of time. And then like we released an alpha way back in, I think it was December of 2018 or January of 2019, and ever since that time we've been listening to our community, and there's constantly discussion in our Skyweaver Discord, and we're always paying attention to it. Like there's so many ideas that have been brought forth by the community that are now in the game. And as I mentioned, we're continually patching and balancing. So like we learn a lot about balancing too, right, through the community, like watching their streams, or they'll tell us, they're like, hey guys, like this card's not like it's unfair or whatever, right? So we listen. And yeah, I think that's essential.
Okay. So we had Axie Infinity on here like late last year, and
Cool.
like everyone in the space now talks about Axie Infinity, right? Like and they're like the sort of example that people look at when it comes to blockchain games. And we've seen some challenges that they're facing. Like they had to move to their own sidechain. There are like the Axies get too expensive to buy, so it prohibits a lot of people, and like you have this situation where like the earliest buyers or earliest people like get a huge kind of like, I wouldn't say control, but like a lot of leverage over the rest of the economy.
Yeah.
So have you kind of faced similar challenges, or thought about dealing with those challenges on your end?
Yeah, actually, so there are challenges that we've thought about for a long time, and in our economy design principles, one of them is accessibility. since the very beginning, and that's why Skyweaver is a totally free to play game. Like you don't ever need to spend a cent in the game, and you could even through that, like you could play and end up owning silver cards and then use those silver cards to go into a conquest and win rare gold cards. But you didn't need to pay anything. And so it's really important to us that the game remains free to play and accessible for everyone, because yeah, like not everyone's going to be able to afford paying to enter. And we like our whole, a big part of our mission, right, is making this next generation of the internet accessible. But if only certain people can do that, it's it's just not realizing the vision in the same way.
Okay. They do have a very cool thing, at least so far, when it comes to like earning the SLP token, and like you just play a game and you earn SLPs. For Skyweaver, from my understanding, the economies from the earning part is a little bit different, where you have to, like, let's say participate in conquest, or like be at the very top to get the silver cards. So it's not as, I guess, easy to make money, if I can describe it that way.
Yeah, that is how it's set up now. And just so you know too, like I think Axie is wonderful. Like I think it's an incredible project that has brought so much attention and like validation to blockchain gaming, right? I think it's super cool. And like I know Alex, the COO there, and like, yeah, I think what they've done is amazing. And I'm super excited for them. And like the community seems to love it. And in Skyweaver, you're right though, like it is, the rewards right now are for competitive players in the early stages. If you're playing totally for free and you unlock XP, that unlocks you the base card, right? But then just like you said, Harith, to earn a silver card, you have to rank in the top percentage of players. And then in Conquest, you either have to, either have to have a silver through ranked, or you have to buy one on the market, or, you can pay one die and you can enter a Conquest. And, like in that scenario, if you lose your first match, you're out. But if you win only one match in a conquest, you do at least get a silver card. You've staked one, so you haven't like made a surplus. But if you win two, you're going to win. But you are right, like it is a competitive game mode. And we are like, it's been a mission of our community managers for a while to implement other modes that can kind of afford some of the same opportunities, not the exact same, right? Because it still needs to be Sybil resistant and prevent against, in our opinion, like prevent against bots. Like there needs to be some mechanism where you can't just bot the game and then it could screw up the whole economy for Skyweaver. So we're super mindful of that, but we do. It is something we're exploring. It won't be in at the start of soft launch, and soft launch should be in the next couple months, but that's when the economy goes live. But like over time, it'll certainly evolve.
It's interesting that you mentioned bots, because I think like literally yesterday, like Axie had this issue where they found like a major group of players who had been botting, and they kind of like shut it down. But it brings up a very interesting element, and like for a lot of people who've been in this space for a while, a lot of projects, you kind of have this situation where you have to balance between like being censorship resistant, but also like curating and avoid like spamming.
Mm-hmm.
Have you guys had to deal with stuff like that, or like thought about how you would deal with that balance between curating and censoring?
Yeah, I mean, that's in fact why it's kind of this proof of skill reward system at the moment, right? Because it's like, I'd be really impressed to meet a bot that would rank top of the rewards or win 3 matches in a conquest, like I don't see it happening anytime soon. So yeah, we did put a lot of thought into that. And like in some games, it's not like botting's always bad or like always hurts a game, right? Because sometimes it works in certain people's favors and sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, we have, like with our design right now, it is focused on preventing those sorts of exploits.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. Like unless one of those like chess bot makers can create a bot for Skyweaver, which even if they do, that probably is a good thing for the game, right? That means like it's big enough that someone wants to create a bot like that.
Exactly. Like, I think that would be awesome. And it's also interesting to, I mean, yeah, chess obviously has, it's super dynamic, but like, you know, in Skyweaver with 500 card sets and different decks that you can come with, you know, you can show up with like a dual prism deck, a single prism deck. There's kind of 15 different strategies. And then of those strategies, each one has 100 cards to choose from, and you're showing up with like 25 cards, right? So there's a lot of variance. So that would be, that'd be a really smart bot. But I mean, you know, I'm sure one day will.
Yeah, probably will. And yeah, it will be good validation for Skyweaver if that happens.
Totally.
Yeah, and I guess one last thing related to XC is that, you know, they've built this whole community of like, you know, people creating like scholarship programs, and then, you know, like scholars joining these communities. Do you see how Skyweaver can leverage on that, essentially like an esports kind of idea of having like different people like build their own businesses on top of Skyweaver?
Yeah, would love to see it happen. And, you know, in terms of it being designated as an esport, we'll of course let the community decide that. We already have had, there's a group called Community Gaming. Are you familiar with them, Harith?
I'm not. I don't know if the others might be.
Cool. Well, even if not, check them out. It's called communitygaming.io, and they run tournaments. It's like, well, it's actually, sorry, it's software to make it easy for you to run a tournament, and it's automated brackets and then automated payouts as well. So like you can pay out like 50 winners from a prize pool, and it costs like $1 to send all of those transactions, and it can land in your Sequence wallet or, you know, whatever wallet that you want. So they've already run like 5 or I forget how many, somewhere between 3 and 5 tournaments during our private beta. And then our communities run another whole bunch of tournaments as well. And many of them have had third-party sponsors, which has been a really great sign for us, especially because it's still code gated. The economy is not live. So it's a really nice sign. But yeah, you know, people might build, like, I mean, there could be liquidity providers. That's one business that someone could run to the market. People might rent out their cards. We are thinking of, our economy team is, you know, we've been looking at that scholarship model, but exactly how it will manifest, or if it will manifest in Skyweaver, I'm sure it'll be different because, you know, like you can start playing for free. So it's just like it's just different, but I really think there's like a cool idea there. I just don't know exactly what it is, but our economy team has been brainstorming some ideas. And yeah, I mean, if you have any, like, we'd love you to share them in our Skyweaver Discord, because as I mentioned, we're always listening, and it's obviously where some of the greatest ideas come from, right? It's from the people who are playing the game and who love it. So we're always open to feedback.
Yeah, and I guess that's always the dream, right? With like Web3 like projects. Like you have the people being able to build on top of the different layers that someone else has already built.
Well, yeah, or even like someone could make another game with the Skyweaver cards, right? Like it might be just, I don't know, only golds or only silvers or only the hearts, or like whatever they want, right? They could make anything with those cards.
Yeah. Okay, so we have 5 minutes of like official time left. I don't know if you're okay with extending, but I'll try and keep.
I could stay like a few minutes extra, but I do have to jump to another meeting.
Yeah, we understand. Yeah, but I'll try and keep to a few more questions only.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah. So I guess related to the question that Ayman asked earlier, like when it comes to wallets, can Skyweaver work with other wallets that's not Sequence? Michael?
Hey, sorry, I'm having a bit of a tough time hearing you.
Sorry. I'm gonna try again, and if not, I'll just put it in the chat.
Cool.
Can Skyweaver work with other wallets that's not Sequence?
So at the moment, no, Sequence is the only wallet that connects with it, but we will be adding support for other wallets.
Okay, cool. And so when it comes to the NFT art space, like the last few months, I guess for a while, like people have been debating whether how decentralized are these things really, if, you know, like the image is stored in a centralized server, even though the NFT is on the blockchain, but the image itself can be like taken down or changed by the company in some way. With games, it's a little bit different because there is that kind of it's not just a picture, like there is some function to it. But do you see that with Skyweaver as well, like this, how to handle that kind of I guess balance again of having some sort of control over things, but have it in a way where the company cannot like block the card, the image, or some functions later on.
Yeah, well, it's interesting with like, I don't know if you want to call it the art or the mechanics of the card. Like we do retain some control because as I mentioned, you were balancing the cards, right? So that's one area that like we can modify for the overall health of the game, and it's always going to be based on the community's feedback, and like we're transparent about that the whole time, that like, you know, we need to balance these cards, otherwise if the card mechanics are immutable, and then you're also you never ban cards or rotate them out of play, then you risk just having a card that just destroys the game for everyone, right? Because like if you own that card, you win every single time. So like we made that decision for the health of the game and the community. Yeah, and then in terms of art and stuff, I mean, there are like, I don't know if you've, I don't know too much about it, but like there are things like Arweave and is it IFPS or IPFS? Yeah, where like you could, you know, you can store the art there. For now, like there are things we've explored, but we haven't like landed on something that we've decided to go with just yet.
Okay, and a couple more questions. Are there any other games or just projects for Horizon other than Skyweaver that you're able to share?
So, you know, we might not make any other games because so like we want Skyweaver to be a long-lasting franchise that players adore, and then we're going to be focusing a lot of our bandwidth on Sequence and getting adoption and integrating with as many projects as possible and having as many people use it as possible so that they can access Web3 in an easy and secure way. So that's our roadmap moving forward, is like grow Skyweaver and then grow the Sequence ecosystem and empower more users.
Okay, cool. And last one from me, and if anyone else has any like one or two last questions, please put it in the chat before we end the Q&A session with Michael. But the last one from me is so if there's anyone that's watching either now or the recording later and they want to create a Web3 project that focuses on the wider market outside of crypto, like how you guys are, what are some like advice that you can give so that they can build a product that the normies would like, and it's not just the crypto people?
Yeah, well, one piece of advice would be use Sequence as your wallet and developer platform. That'll make it a lot easier for you and solve a ton of your problems. And you can go to sequence.build for that. And honestly, like that was a huge part for us in architecting what we're doing because we, just like you said, Harith, we wanted it. We want it to be accessible for the regular internet user out there. So I think it's about like designing an experience, thinking deeply about what kind of experience resonates with people. And it's, these types of things can be hard to predict, but I think you have to go with something that speaks to you, and you believe it's going to speak to your audience. I mean, this is like the nature of startups or new projects in general, right? Like you can do a bunch of research and get some ideas, and like if you can find somewhere where like 2 or 3 or 4 things are converging, I would say that's a really cool area to explore. Like if you're seeing like NFTs and DeFi and gaming, like what's at the intersection of all those? Like where is the market? Where's the culture? Where's the world going? build something for that. And then I think you might have something that resonates with a larger audience. And then, of course, just making it accessible and removing the friction to actually get involved in the first place. And then, you know, there's that famous, I think it's a Charlie Munger quote that says, "Show me the incentive and I'll show you the behavior." So like what incentive do you give users to participate? Is there a reward? Like, are you rewarding? Of course, there's entertainment rewards, but is there some, you know, maybe it's a token, maybe it's an NFT, but something that rewards the participant for their contributions. And yeah, I think it takes a lot of like deep thought and experimentation, you know, like get it out and then start iterating on it.
Right. Yeah. Thanks, Michael, for your time. I think that's pretty much all we have.
Cool.
Yeah. So yeah. So thanks everyone for watching. We will have the recording up soon-ish. And yeah, if you want access codes, feel free to ask. There's a Discord group which we'll get the link later and share for Skyweaver. And Michael, if you have any links at all that you want to share, and the slides, if that's okay to share, you can pass it to me and I'll share it with the rest.
Cool.
So yeah.
Do you want me to just email those to you, Harith, or do you want me to? Okay, cool.
I think email's probably better.
Well, thanks everyone for having me. It's been awesome getting to speak with all of you, and thanks for inviting me in the first place, Harith. Yeah, ETH Malaysia seems awesome, and I really hope to visit it someday. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. When the whole COVID thing is over, please come over. Malaysians are well known for being very hospitable hosts.
Awesome.
It's a great holiday vacation place.
Yeah, it looks beautiful. What I mean, if you don't mind me asking, what city are you in?
I think most of us are in Kuala Lumpur, the capital city.
Cool.
Yeah, but there's a lot of places that's like very kind of accessible from KL, like islands, mountains, you know, Thailand, Singapore, Indonesia. So, yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Well, awesome. Yeah. Thanks for having me, everyone, and hope to see you guys soon.
Okay. Thanks, guys. And so as usual, we'll keep the link up for about half an hour if anyone wants to stay on and just like chit chat with each other. But if any of you have to go off, please feel free to do so. And yeah, so thanks, Michael. Bye.